shit. This
He
shit
said
isn't soul.
definitely
It's dope.
more. He said definitely more than any white MC I've ever heard. Now, if I want to go white MC, and I know we're gonna get killed in the comments for that, but I'm gonna go Mac Miller. You know what I'm saying? And I've always felt like Mac Miller, he approaches a beat and does his thing on it, or rest in peace. But it never seemed forced to me, and I've always said that. And I'm not even just saying that because Mac's gone. Like I remember when Mac got on that first Prime album. You know what I'm saying? Because I've always ridiculed Eminem for running away from premiere tracks, and he won't even jump on a premiere track when his guy has two albums with premiere. But whatever. And Matt got on there, did his thing. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I think that's maybe a deeper love for something, but Mac seemed to have had soul.
Mike, I would like to release a statement right now. All thoughts about Eminem made by Michael Dothert are not a reflection of Coop on according to hip hop
Or according to hip hop as a whole. This is just
or
me.
according to hip hop as a whole. It's just Mike.
So you can invite him to the aftermath luncheon. I don't need to be there if
No, no,
telling
no,
the
no, no, no.
if telling
Me and
the
the home,
truth.
me and the homie Obi already tried to send a CD to Sherman Oaks when I was in Cali, Mike. That shit's not going. It's not gonna work. You're not getting in there either. We're not getting in the Rock Nation brunch. We're not getting in the aftermath compound. We're not really going anywhere. Niggas just don't like us. Like,
Hey man, if being honest is a problem, I'm sorry. We have an
Mike, it is. No,
obligation
no,
to
no,
the
Mike,
people.
Mike. The truth is eternally gonna be a problem, but we here, so you know.
I mean, look, I still think Dr. Dre is the greatest hip hop producer of all time. But you're right. We gotta hold Dr. Dre accountable for these Eminem misses. Is it one of those things where even the great Dr. Dre couldn't make a quality project for this artist?
We're not gonna turn this around like that. We're not gonna
I
turn this
mean,
around like that.
what's turning
That's what
around?
we're not gonna do. That's
I
what we're not gonna do.
mean,
That's what we're not gonna do. I said we're not gonna absolve him. We're not gonna totally blame him either.
eh, he's the executive producer,
I
and
can't with you. I can't with
he's the
you.
executive producer, and he is known based on his catalog. He is the greatest executive producer in hip hop history. Even he couldn't make a quality project for this artist. I think that
Well,
puts this artist even further down the
the first
list.
three albums are quality. They're just not quality to the level of getting
No,
somebody
no,
you
no,
to
no.
sway. Okay.
I'm talking about after that, because he
Oh,
executive produced those too.
yeah. Oh, no,
That's
no,
what I'm
no.
talking about.
No, no, no. Phone check.
Nah, I'm just saying. And we got to be, let's keep it real. Imagine if he would have spent that time executive producing a Snoop Doggy Dogg album. Would that have been as difficult?
You know, I'm gonna stop sharing my thoughts with you.
I mean, we just got to keep it real about Marshall, man. I know for a lot of people, it's childhood memories. You never want to be
so,
that person to tell somebody that Santa Claus isn't real.
so, Mike. So here's what we're gonna do about all this, and a lot of it I can't even front is centered around Eminem and the continuous conversation we've been having all year because of your sentiments, all year.
I just want to get things
But
correct.
we're gonna come up with an actual categorized and catalog list to rate the MCs, and we're gonna do a list, and we're actually gonna do like points,
You know,
like
I
based on
I
like
posted.
a scale. We're gonna do a real scale, like an in-depth scale, not like a one, two, or three thing scale. Like no technical rapping ability, storytelling, freestyle ability, live performance, album catalog. No, no, no. We gonna go sit it down and really play it out.
Okay.
Collaborative efforts, guest verse appearances. Some of the guys who are high are going to stay high, like Biggie and Nas and Rakim and Jay are going to stay high because they hit almost all the marks almost all the time.
True or false? Marshall Mathers runs away from DJ Premier produced tracks.
I don't know if he ran away. He also came along at a time where it wasn't a necessity for an MC of his caliber to necessarily snag a primo track.
Royce has two albums with Premier.
I mean, Royce has Boom, which is better than everything on both of those. But yeah,
I'm just saying, Royce has two albums with Premier. Royce is in a group with Premier. Oh, not to mention that it was one of those shady not collaborations, compilation albums And Eminem had a terrible song, and I forgot what it was, but the what's the name of the group with Royce and
Slaughterhouse.
Slaughterhouse? Slaughterhouse had a song on there, and it was produced by Premier. And I'm like, another opportunity to work with Premier, a jump on a Premier track, and a no show. True or false? Does Marshall run from Jay Dilla production? How you from Detroit and you ain't never rhymed over a Jay Dilla track?
No, you're making valid assertions, Mike. The Primo Dilla thing is a problem because he's got a line to it. And if one of the things that we're knocking him for is that, well, these beats really don't be, and it don't fit with what I like to ride to. Well, I mean, that's Dilla and Preem. That is what we ride to.
My thing is, if you can do it,
That's
you
head shit, Mike. That's like Mike, a hip hop head. Like most all hip hop heads have Premier and Dilla in their top 5 producers.
DeCarlo says Royce is above Eminem, and I agree with that. And I feel like for the work that Royce has put in this game over the years and how he's continuously gotten better and continues to make quality projects, for people to act like he's the sidekick is disrespectful to the work that Royce has put in as an
I
MC.
mean,
Because they've always, if you want to talk about lyric to lyric, they've always been comparable.
no,
But
no,
Royce has
Mike,
just shown that he can do more over the years.
no, Mike. I think Royce's verse on Ransom album is probably gonna make our top 20 verses.
Yeah.
So, and he didn't do much output this year, and like this is a stellar verse. No,
Yeah.
he's stellar. Yeah, no, he's a stellar MC. But Mike, let's rate it out because even when you said that, I immediately thought it's like, okay, put his 2 best albums against the Marshall Mathers LP and the Eminem Show. What say you?
I still think Royce can
No,
come
but I'm
out on
saying,
top.
What are his 2 best albums?
I think Royce's two best albums are, huh? Because I don't want. I think he's made some of his best stuff recently. Actually,
I think the Allegory is one of his 2 best albums,
I
Mike.
think so too. And I was gonna say the Allegory, and I was gonna say Book of Ryan.
Yeah. And most people feel that way. I wasn't in love with Book of Ryan, but that's what I'm saying. So, Mike, put the Book of Ryan and the Allegory, which, in my opinion, are probably his 2 best projects, too. Definitely the Allegory. I think that probably is his best project. It is his best project, Mike.
Rodriguez says Lupe smashed Royce with a freestyle. He did. We can't act like that didn't happen. But,
yeah, it's going to be in the yearbook. We're putting it in the yearbook. But that ain't what we're talking about. That ain't what we're talking about right now. We're talking about Royce and Eminem. But no, Royce is there, but this is what I'm saying. So this is why we got to do the scale, Mike, because it's like when you say that, it's like, oh yeah, so he might be better. But let's go to that catalog conversation. All right.
DeCarlo says the Book of Ryan project is better than anything Eminem ever put out. Yeah, people are saying Book of Ryan, Allegory. Yeah, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I'm just saying it like when you're saying he's better, that's what I'm saying about these conversations. That's what I said. Every time you put an M next to a great MC, even his own compadre, we always take the other guy. Let's just put everything on a scale. Like let us create a scale. You know what I'm saying? Because even because Mike, because even the thing when we do these shows and people come in comments, be like, oh, well, you guys didn't do this, that, and the other, right? It's like, yo, this isn't even our criteria. So like, let's do our criteria and weigh it out and then come give us the smoke. Because here's the thing. I think what happens is that when we put the criteria out, he's going to come out a little higher than you think, but lower than what the overall population is going to expect.
Well, I think there was a post on According to Hip Hop, might have been yesterday, like who's the most overrated MC of all time, and Eminem's name just kept showing up. And it's interesting because years ago that wouldn't have been the case. And so it's like, I don't know if it's Lord Jamar or if I'm to blame for some of this, or if people just, have grown up and they don't hear that material the way that they heard it when they initially heard it. I think that, and I feel like this about, and I'm gonna get into this artist as well, even though none of this stuff was on our notes for the show, by the way. But
no, we freestyling.
like
a motherfucker.
I think that Eminem is a product of great marketing initially when he launched, right? And I think over the years, it has phased out. Just like
this is what I'm saying. No, Mike, that
he is
no,
he is a product of great marketing.
No, his
What?
start is not a product of great
His
marketing.
success is a product of great
No, no,
marketing.
no. His success might be a product of great marketing. His start is a product of great emceeing. He was signed because he got found where? In hip hop's magazine Bible The Source. Where, Mike? In the unsigned hype section. Mike, I'm gonna tell you because I'll never forget, because this was the first time they ever said this. This is a column that had Capone and Noriega in it, Common in it, the Notorious B.I.G. in it, and this is the only time they ever said this. A&Rs and executives, be aware. Find him and sign him. The source said that about him. Wherever you are right now, if you're an A&R exec, find him and sign him.
Well, what happened?
Dr. Dre, Mike, what more hip hop credibility do you want than the source saying, find this white boy and sign him, and then Dr. Dre going to pick him up? That is some rap shit if ever there was some rap shit.
First of all,
that's some rap shit, Mike. That ain't no marketing. That's some rap shit, Mike. That's embedded in this culture. His start is embedded in this culture because his start is in the unsigned hype column with the hip hop Bible saying, go sign this white boy. And Dr. Dre went and signed the white boy. And they banged out 5 tracks in the first night or two.
You know what? Eminem is one of those.
Rap shit, hold on. That's rap shit. That's rap shit.
I am, listen, Eminem is one of the few hip hop, like, they all embellish or whatever, right? It's hip hop. People embellish all the time. No. Listen to me, man. I have heard 5 different Eminem origin stories of how this whole thing came together.
No.
And
that's
honestly,
the origin, Mike.
That is the first I've ever heard of that one. And
they printed that. They said, go find him and sign him.
What year was that?
I think that was 97 or 98.
97 or 98.
Go find him and sign him.
That's you gotta find that. You gotta find that issue for me because I remember being heavy on the source at that time, and I don't even remember that. Now I do remember this. Peter Rosenberg being his manager, they were shopping him around to Rockets Records. He was, he did the what was it, the Sway freestyle, or it was on the West Coast. There's a few different stories. There's a story that Jimmy Iovine's intern went to a show and heard him rocking at a battle or something. I've heard that story. And then so he brought him over there and then they made the union with Dre. I've heard that story. I've heard the story that Dre heard him on the radio rapping and they made the connection that way. I've heard the story that they were going through demo tapes and Jimmy Iovine heard the demo and passed it over to Dre. And so I just don't know what to believe when it comes to Eminem origin stories. But I will say this.
Mike.
There's nobody else that would have been able to successfully launch Eminem's career. And Mike. What I will say, too, is if he was such a lyricist, wordsmith, and that's how he came in the game, why is your first single Hi, My Name Is? That's not bringing a lyricist into the game. Bringing a lyricist into the game is launching with It Ain't Hard to Tell. That's what bringing a lyricist in the game is.
That's not fair. See,
I'm just saying.
You went to Nas.
I'm just saying. If you want to sit here and say that his career isn't built on marketing, it's built on his skill set, then why is his first line for everyone to hear, hi kids, do you like Primus? Do you want to stick 9-inch nails through one of my eyelids? That's marketing. They didn't lead off with role model. They didn't.
Okay, they didn't say find him and sign him, Mike, but I'm about to read the column from
Go for it. I want to hear this.
But tell me this ain't some rap shit. This is unsigned hype. Eminem. Listen to how it starts, Mike. Mm-hmm. Wow. It starts off, it says, wow. Wow. It's been a few months since we've profiled a creme de la creme MC in need of some nurturing from a record company. I'm going to read how this unsigned hype starts, Mike. Wow. It's been a few months since we've profiled a creme de la creme MC in need of some nurturing from a record company. During our 90-day hiatus, as in they had 90 days to pick one person. This was the person they chose on their 90-day hiatus, Mike. However, our ever reliable Flavor Tracker 2000 came across a target that in many ways redefines the term ill. He goes by the name of Eminem, as in the popular candy. After making a buzz in the Detroit area for quite some time, he just recently gained the hip hop nation's attention with his impressive showing in events like the Rap Olympics. One glimpse of the contents within his Slim Shady demo, one can't help but recognize that this rapper of the Caucasian persuasion got skills.
You know
As
that's
far as
you know what that sounds like to me. That
it's not
sounds
done.
like
It's not done, Mike. Mike, it's not done.
I
Not
know it's
done.
not done because that sounds like that was written up by Eminem's PR and sent over to the
No,
Source
Mike. That's why you're
magazine to
gonna
print
love who
up.
Mike. The person who wrote it is one of the few pure hip hop journalists that actually ran through the source. So we're gonna get to who wrote this in a second. We're gonna finish this though. As far as flow,
I
he
think I
keeps
know
it.
who wrote this.
As far as flow, he keeps it simple yet extremely effective. In Murder, he kicks a humorous tale about a bank heist gone wrong. Left the keys in the van with a gat in each hand, went up in Eastland, shot a policeman. Fuck the police plan if a citizen bystands. The shit is in my hands. Here's your lifespan. For what your life worth, the money is twice then. Grab a couple grand and live in Iceland. See, I'm a nice man, but money turned to Satan. Another guaranteed rewinder is the semi-demented Just the Two of Us. A crazy,
Semi-demented.
yep. Mike,
Semi.
I'm telling you how our hip hop rival is framing at the time. A crazed tale about the action Eminem takes upon his baby's mother. With wifey placed comfortably in the back of his trunk, M drives far and wide explaining to his seed the reasons daddy had to bury mommy. Point blank, this ain't your average cat. This Motor City kid is a one of a kind talent, and he's about to blow past the competition, leaving many melted microphones in the dust. Mike, Riggs Morales. Rap shit, Mike. Embedded in the culture. That's why I told you he came in this game with a cosign, so we can't knock him but so much. They co-signed him on a high level, Mike. Mike, they ain't even talk about Common
I feel
like
like
this.
that was paid for. You're right.
They
They
ain't talk
didn't
about
talk
Capone
about
and
Common
Noriega
like
like
that.
this. I
Of
don't even
course
think
they
where's
didn't.
Big's unsigned
Of
hype
course
at?
they didn't because this was written by the people that
That's
were
Riggs
paid.
Morales, Mike. No, 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 no,
I'm
Mike.
sorry.
Mike. That's Riggs Morales. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No, his journalism integrity is solid and never been questioned, and we not about to do it live here. He
We're
always
not
been
gonna do
solid.
it.
There
We're,
ain't there ain't no smoke around any of his journalistic integrity ever. Not that I'm aware of. Somebody gonna have to show it to me.
this you
Solid.
know thing it runs deep. I don't know. Okay.
I want to read Big's unsigned hype column right now. I'm a little pissed off reading that.
I mean, it's listen.
I'm trying to get.
That read like someone who needed to give someone some props. It read like that, and I'm not questioning anybody's journalistic credibility in that sense. But that was almost like like when you're an artist coming up and you got to put together a profile. I mean, because you're talking about a buzz in Detroit. Did he really have a buzz in Detroit? Come on, man. We know what Detroit's hip hop scene is like. If he had a buzz in Detroit, then A, there would be some Dilla tracks rhymed over. B, there would have been some Detroit collaborations. I mean, it's kind of
Let's read the Notorious B.I.G.'s unsigned hype.
go for it.
This is what I mean about the cosign. If you're an aspiring rapper and you know you have the flavor and potential to make dope records, you don't need to go into the studio and spend crazy cash to make a fly demo. You don't even need a 4-track. Just 2 turntables and a microphone. Press record on the tape deck and you're good to go. B.I.G. is living proof of this fact. His DJ Hitman, 50 grand, threw on a couple of classic break beats and instrumentals and let B.I.G. do what he had to do. He rip shit, straight out of Brooklyn, New York. The heavyset brother B.I.G. has mad skills. His rhymes are fatter than he is. All 4 of his jams were basically a freestyle exhibition. Obviously, to come out as an MC takes a lot more than hype rhymes, but rhyme skills are the main ingredient to true success in hip hop. And when it comes to those, B.I.G.'s got plenty. They waxed poetic about M more than they did about Big, Mike.
That's what I'm saying. That shit sounded like That shit was written by somebody who was supposed to give him
Maddie C wrote the unsigned hype for Big, and
I
he had
know.
a direct line to Puff. They had a connection, and he still wrote it like that. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You can't say that. What's Riggs Morales' connection to Dr. Dre or to Eminem in
I don't
Detroit? He
know.
don't have any. That's just the journalist in him speaking on what he's hearing. They were on a 90-day hiatus, and they chose him. Cosign, rap shit.
Hey man, they needed a big one, and everything fell in place for Eminem.
Very problematic.
I'm just saying, everything fell in place for him at the perfect time. He went to the perfect person. Do you really think that if he would have went to anyone other than Dr. Dre, that his career would have mapped out the way it did? Because cosigns have been very, very integral in Eminem's process. Without
So
cosigns, he's nothing.
no, but that's what I'm saying.
And they needed
Mike,
the source. They needed that foundation, and Dr. J was able to provide all of those things.
okay, but Mike, this is what I'm trying to say. The source doesn't co-sign you. Dr. Dre doesn't co-sign you
What year was this?
unless you're actually really nice.
It
If I'm not
matters.
mistaken, it's
It matters what
1998.
year.
1998,
Yeah,
if
the
memory
source is
serves.
different in '98 than it was
Hold
in
on, Mike.
'94.
You want to know what's crazy? Hold on. Wait 1 second. The fat tape is right below. You want to hear the fat tape from the unsigned hype?
Go for it.
Magnum by Cameron, 1,000,001 Part 2, Jazz with Sauce Money. So this is like late 97, early 98. Keep Hustling with E40 and Too Short, WC. Above the Clouds, Gangstar, Inspector Deck. Yeah, this 98.
Okay.
Above the Clouds. Yeah, Twins, Big Pun, Fat Joe. Slang Editorial, Capadonna. So what's that, late 97, early 98?
Yeah. People are asking me in the chat, is Eminem an industry plant? I don't know anything about that, but what I will say is
Very problematic.
I think there was a plan for someone like Eminem to get in the game and be successful. I mean, I think same thing with Drake. I think that there's a plan for a person like Drake to be able to get in the game and be as successful as possible. Both artists, mind you, needed a major cosign from somebody who was already established, who was at the top of their game, and was able to basically hand them over a fan base. Now I will give it to Eminem. He passed it on with 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying? Because without Eminem's cosign, 50 Cent's career is drastically different.
March of 98, Mike.
March of '98, yeah, the source is different. You know what I'm saying? At that point, I don't think that's the same unsigned that documented Common or Biggie, because at that point, the unsigned hype. What other success stories do they have from that '98 range?
I mean, they had Capone and Noriega the previous year, if memory serves. So they weren't like done. Like, yeah, they just put CNN up in there. But if I'm not mistaken, Stick You and I think maybe they had done TONY with Nasheem Myrick, got them in unsigned hype. Yeah.
They had a
That was
buzz going.
97.
And we was hearing CNN all the way down here in Atlanta, so that's a little different. You know what I'm saying? So they had
We
a
was hearing them in
legitimate
Charlotte.
buzz.
They had a buzz, Mike.
I don't, I question the quote unquote buzz that Eminem had as an artist, because if that were the fact, then Infinite would have gotten way more praise than that. Infinite would have been somewhat of a reasonable doubt, folklorish, if there was a buzz like that. If we keeping
Right.
it real.
I mean, Mike, I was working at a record store when Bad Meets Evil came out, and we kept 5 copies of it, and those 5 copies consistently sold out. So he had a buzz.
Well, I mean, what year was that though? This
99.
Yeah, so this man's on TRL every day. Of course, people are going
Mike.
getting everything.
Only thing that he had by then was the Slim Shady LP, and the Slim Shady LP had maybe been out for about 2 or 3 months.
He was big then. They did a TRL takeover for the Slim Shady LP. This is before the Marshall Mathers LP. But
Mike, you gotta be nice.
Do you?
Like, Mike, you gotta be nice.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean, some people don't make a DMX made unsigned hype in the source. Like, listen to the people that I'm naming. Like,
I don't know, man. There's a lot of exceptions for him. I mean, he's okay.
But that's what I'm saying, Mike. Listen to what they're saying, though. He garners attention because he performed well in the Rap Olympics. He got a buzz on the Detroit scene. They had 90 days off to check the facts and check the stats on the white boy. Stats came back clean. White boy can rhyme his ass off. Look at how they're contextualizing the rhetoric, you know. But here's what I will say, just to the Dr. Dre point, and we can kind of like leave it here with that. I'm really holding him more accountable for how those first 3 albums didn't hold up as well as his other stuff that he's had his hands on. I'm not going to knock him for the older artists because he hasn't really done as great with the older artists, but he had him on those first 3 projects. How well did those projects held up? Because
You think
that's
that's
where
more
you
Dre's
have,
fault?
I mean, that's where you have credence with your argument, because here's what I say. Well, Dr. Dre is still in his prime when those albums are coming out,
Mm-hmm.
and he's still making other classic shit.
Yeah, he made 2001. And
And Get
honestly,
Rich or Die Trying and the documentary. It's like, no, other classic shit executive produced by Dr. Dre is coming out in the same
well, see,
time frame.
ho. You just said those things, and you're saying that it's Dr. Dre's fault? Like, what's the common denominator here?
No, what I'm saying is that those projects didn't hold up as well, Mike. When
Because
you
of
argue
Eminem.
about no, Mike. But when you argue about Eminem and we go to his best projects, and you're like, well, the Eminem show is just good. The Marshall Mathers LP is just okay. Don't some of that belong to Dr. Dre? Because isn't that still a young Eminem? Because Mike, I'm going to tell you something. As an MC, you can actually hear the improvement in Eminem. Has an MC rhyming consistently over beats from the first album to the second album. His timing isn't as good on the first album as it is on the second album. He may be more entertaining, but he's better timing wise on a beat. You can tell he's been in there with Dr. Dre working more. His flow is better.
Yeah, I mean, you could have put Phil Jackson on,
Nigga so shady.
I'm just saying, man, like, a producer can only work with the talent that they have. And, the talent of a hip hop artist, the M is different than somebody like a 50 and Game and
No,
Snoop.
so Mike, no, what I'm saying is that we have to give Dr. Dre more responsibility because we hold DJ Premier up high for Living Proof by Group Home. We hold the Neptunes up high for the Family album, don't we?
Diesel says Marshall Mathers LP is a top 10 album. What say you?
Of what? Of what?
See, this is what we're talking about
See,
here.
this is why. See, Mike. See, this is why
And then you got the
we
next
have. No,
person.
Mike. This is why we have to like really do a real criteria because he's going too far and you've been gone too far. Both of y'all.
I'm not going far at all. He's overrated.
Both of y'all are over. You're over here. He's over there. Both of y'all.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, I think there's one artist that I think that might be more overrated than Eminem, and she's about to be on the next Drink Champs episode. And I have no,